Sorry about that, Chad. We switched over out of the before times, but I forgot that my Elgato in my audio mixer is higher than my microphone, so it took me a second to correctly unmute everything. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Hello, chat, and people watching in the future. This is the return of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Sorry, the Great Ace Attorney TM Chronicles.
TM.
I forgot where they put the trademark there. So, I'm gonna make everybody feel old. The last time we played this game, Case 2-1, was October of the year 2022.
Oh, no.
It has been almost 2 years.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I can't remember any of the voices I was doing.
That's okay. That's fine. We don't have to. We'll figure it out. Now, luckily, if I remember 2 correctly, like 2-1 was the tutorial. It was super cool because Susato pretended to be Ryotaro, which was great. I love that. It's a terrible shame that costume never comes back. Spoilers.
Yes.
But 2-2 is a flashback because we started thinking about, I believe the cliffhanger at the end of 2-1 is thinking about the second time we defended Soseki Natsume in court, and we're like, what? We only defended him once in court. What? Huh? So
Why are things out of order?
It'll be a flashback to a case that happened earlier, and I believe it will hopefully reteach some facts. And it does start with an investigation, as everybody can see. Yeah, there's the date on the save.
Oh.
22 a.m. Boy, we were cooking. Let's jump into it and figure it out. And chat, bear with me. I might have to move you around. I have returned my no back seating sign. It's come out of the archive.
The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very
The same night?
I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day.
No wonder this man wanted to go back to Japan.
Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
Yeah, no, I remember. This man's apartment looked like it had a fucking gas
Detective had at once
gas heater and like no ventilation. So I remember this. I was like, yeah, no shit, people died in this room.
It only proved to be the overture that
Yes,
announced
the
rising of
windows on the lower
curtains
floors were
most
bricked up
tragic
because
day.
the Victorian British had the brilliant idea of taxing your income based on how many windows you had. If I remember correctly, even though he should speak with a British accent, I read Ryunosuke in my normal speaking voice. Because there's a lot of Ryunosuke lines. Hold on, let me get my water down. Yes, chat will have to...
I'm getting my vodka down because I am in pain.
Yeah, you still sore from the deck business?
I'm still sore from the deck business.
I don't know if that's come out to any thing the audience would have heard, but yes, Lucky built a deck the other day.
No, tore down a deck.
Tore down. Haven't put the new deck in. Both are tiresome.
No, we're not going to be putting in a new deck. We're going to be putting down a concrete slab.
That still requires work, but is usually less lifting. Spot for chat. We'll try chat up in that corner. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. Because this takes place in the past, and it's before, I think the last 2 cases of the previous game. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of the law. I'm getting a slight British accent anyway, we're just going to go with it. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of the Japan to here, London, Angerland.
Sir.
And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts, because there are no zoning laws. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. I think it's 2. Or actually, this might be in the now? I don't know. This is the problem with not... They give the dates, but I don't actually know what's in order, so this might be after Case 5. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. You said epic twice. Oh, I saw a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. It's pink, so it must be from Susato.
No reading, only hunger.
What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. Better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate.
Yeah, that typewriter bullet.
There it is. Okay, so it's the 30th of August. And now I'm remembering the joys of doing Great Ace Attorney. I think I'm everybody in this scene because Susato's back in Japan.
I'm gonna have to take up a lot of the case people, aren't I?
We'll see about shaking it out. I think there are some returning characters, but at the very least, there's gonna be, some jurors for funny voices. All right, now I have to remember how to be a small British child. Ah, Runo,
right.
good. I was about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Bacon.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the obtruse thing from my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes. I see. Oh! So that's it. Everybody just soak this one in for a second.
No!
The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely wants explanation. Hold on, I have to turn up the television. I want to hear the jams.
As well as the jellies.
Might as well go great with our bacon. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you've neglected to fasten the third button on your jacket. How slutty. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you've been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? What, of course. No, I don't look for admiration, you understand? My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember? By you?
Ooh. Mr. Holmes, are you trying to tear off Ryunosuke's clothes here? You scallywag.
How they pulled your button off? Now, I've got to be more posh than that, Iris. Got to be up here, more posh. I'm an 8-year-old super genius. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. Sorry, I wanted to make up a joke about music genres there, but I couldn't think of one that was stupid enough. Gaslight core? But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did this have to happen? Why? And to wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button and ripped it off from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. It's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere there back to the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. Sorry, taking sips of water regularly. But, Hurley, Reno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Just like that. Real bored-like. Ah! Well, that really is a surprise! Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
I just imagine it as an afterthought. I kind of regret that I do.
All right then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold.
Listen, Irish cold bacon is perfectly okay.
And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. This one has cocaine in it.
I was about to say, no drugs in it?
I was gonna say crystal meth first, but then I'm like, wait, no, I can actually say cocaine. This is a Victorian game. We can joke about that. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. Also, like, his child or something?
Surrogate daughter? Nanny? Housemate?
But also, like, she's the responsible one in this house? It's fucking crazy, my guy. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes as published in Ranced magazine. I almost said it the wrong way around. Then I'd need a lawyer. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? Bang. No. Also,
I was like, all right, I'm going home.
Naruhodo wouldn't use a gun. He would use the sword. What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed, yes. Let me strike a pose. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. I always do business over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Haha. Oh shit, we have the menu. Oh, hold on. We gotta look around that place now and see what's up. Is there? Yep, Bust of Napoleon. Oh, we can have a conversation here. These are different pieces of evidence from cases you've solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo, memories. Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. Wonderful. Yes, that's all that.
Oh, yes, there'll be a red check mark once we have investigated.
Yes. And remember that, to remind everybody at home, and also us, because it's been a while, in Japan, Great Ace Attorney was 2 games.
Yeah.
When they did finally translate them, they bundled them together, something that Capcom's been doing recently with all of Ace Attorney. They're doing it with, they did it with Ace Apollo, and they're going to do it with Investigations, which star Miles Edgeworth. So, technically, this would be your first time to look around Mr. Sholmes' apartment in the new game.
Well, honestly, it's been almost 2 years, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, it's good for us. It gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. It's like a kotatsu. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. This is true.
Everyone loves fire.
But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really no use at all. I don't know why that was coded in red. Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and no criminals, Hurley? But consider this! I'm going to ignore that subtle barb and just say, instead of a fireplace, a frost place! It's my latest idea. Extraordinary hearth in which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history.
You can't see it. I just headbutted my mic.
Almost 2 years. It was, we brought this up at the start of the stream, but to remind everybody, it's been since October of 22 that we played this game last. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. Yes, of course. Brilliant. Trouble is, all the fires I build ever burn cold. How it taunts me so. So as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. Taught you that one, Ryunosuke. That's nothing, that's nothing. Oh, you can get the globe. Look at the tea set. You can look at Shom's... Can't look at the skull. Terrible shame. Here's his violin. Anything particular you want to scope out?
No, unfortunately, like when I do like window dressing, it is probably all just window dressing.
Yeah, there's probably some very funny conversations with Sholmes if we want to look around, but it is probably not directly related. Let's try converse. We have two options. We'll start at the top. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post, because otherwise it couldn't have come from Japan.
Yes, rather than the National Post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
Just every time I just see the pipe, I just want to make the noise.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Okay, so we're not flashing back yet. We are now in the future. Ah, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. Hey, I've won cases too, you know.
Holmes, do you know how many times... Sholmes, excuse me. Do you know how many times you have been factually incorrect? All of them.
That's part of my charm! Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do! We helped the man. Twice! We made up the second time. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustached, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and mustache. Yes. He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley. Yes, who could forget those just 2 cases? It made a very deep impression on me.
Deep as the shallow end of a kiddie pool.
Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. I feel like when I read his internal monologue, I have to go maximum deadpan as Naruhodo. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes! It's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten them. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. It took place over half a year ago? For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings. I just realized the music stopped.
Gasp.
Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send the telegram. Oh, that case, yes, that case. The one with the haunted lodgings. It's very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. He's not normally mean?
I don't think he's intentionally mean. I think he's just Hurley.
That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that. Are you quite sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was a shock, wasn't it? The way she was suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan? Indeed it was! Due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. Yes. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away.
Excuse me?
No. He was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. No, he's quite dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? Everybody play that clip from Star Trek TNG here, where Data is Sherlock Holmes and says, "No, it is a ruse."
Doesn't he hold back,
I think it's holding. Yeah, I think he's holding back Geordi in that episode.
Yeah,
That's
Geordi.
the one where they have to fight holographic Professor Moriarty because I think the simulation is too good.
Yeah, or the simulator broke. That happened on a regular basis.
The holodeck was very touchy, and I cannot believe that technology passed any form of beta testing. Clearly, the holodeck technology is like generative AI is now. One guy said that he cracked it, and he didn't really, and so every tech company in the Federation was like, "Ah, shit, we gotta get on holograms now."
I mean, honestly, aside, you need the fucking holodeck. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure everyone on that ship would have went batshit insane.
To briefly aside, because we don't want to take too long a tangent, but yeah, on the Enterprise D, that's probably true. The D-class Enterprise, according to like the lore, is a like super huge exploratory flagship. There are like hundreds of people on board. It's not just like officers, but also like your family and kids and like support crew. So like they had all kinds of shit and needed it because they were, you know, running basically like a mobile city. Which is pretty crazy that, you know, they were willing to fly into danger and get shot up a couple of times every week.
Bet the pay was good.
Well, they live in the super future where money is obsolete, so I guess you just get free replicator access, which is pretty cool. Anyway, Iris. So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? Is that the thing fathers, which I do not have, normally do? That's my subtle way of reminding you that I'm an orphan. I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Flashback, back. Oh no. We're just transitioning out of the scene. The scene is done now. Summoning her back to Japan like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
What? I don't know.
Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar's quite surprisingly full today.
It is not.
And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure, which I am not. So, man the phone my avance, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later. Make sure to pick me up some tea and milk and cookies. Bye.
And some bisodium carbonate.
He scuttled off rather quickly there. I almost imagined he just fucking threw up in one of the windows and jumped out. Got to go. terribly late. I think Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last. Iris, are they... The notes about the case? Yes, that's right. Susan and I compiled them together. Because now I'm also your publisher, Mr. Naruhodo. The Case of the Haunted Lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Iris. Ooh, we got real dramatic all of a sudden. I have no idea what secrets could be hiding in the shadows of this case, but perhaps I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit!
No, not the gun!
For that I've brought out my new invention, kitchen gun!
Bang, bang, bang!
I know that's just because that's probably her, like, determined animation. Why did she have the gun? Why? Shuchikobi, why? And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the gun. Like, did she write down the times where I just ran back and forth from area to area having no idea what the fuck I was doing?
God. It's just like fucking Persona 5. Sai leans over the table and is like, hey, did you have to tell me about the part where you fucked my sister? Joker's just like, yes, it's very important. Also, by the way, on the night of Tuesday the 17th, I had beef bowl. It made me feel more courageous.
I was just like, how do you remember this so well?
That's the true story of Persona 5. Joker is just making half of it up. Because he doesn't fucking remember what he did in April, and it's December, or whatever. November, I think. Anyway, I just need to find the clue, and I have all the time in the world. There's definitely no deadline. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Oh, right, we're forbidden. Because...
Wait, why are we forbidden again?
I believe it's because at the to solve the last case where Gina Lestrade was accused of murder, Susato left us a note that revealed that she had accidentally tampered with the crime scene, and because she is our assistant and was no longer in the country, we have been not disbarred, but like temporarily forbidden from practicing law.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the
I don't remember the full thing, but because we were only able because of saw it because we had that proof. Okay,
yes.
That's right.
And Susato like waited until the last minute to like send it to us via courier because, you know, she knew we and her would get in trouble. But we used every trick in our book because there was that one guy whose name I forgot his real name. His fake name was Egbert Benedict, which is great, but there was the JoJo posing guy. So YouTube, are you sure you're not receiving enough video? You might see some buffering, chat. It's telling me it's not getting enough gas. We did drop a few frames on OBS, but it seems like it's a green light now, and you're looking at a black screen. Sorry, you're looking at a white screen. Flashbang. A young woman was found laying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. He looked a lot like this. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Oh yeah, we also threatened to reveal state secrets. I don't actually know if that got us in trouble, though. I think the judge thought we were pretty based for doing that.
That's right, because it was all involved with the coder and stuff.
Yeah, there was the coded music discs trick.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not actually sure which one, because it's been 2 years. Not sure which one got us more in trouble, but we, as usual, you know, it was an Ace Attorney game. We had to pull off a couple of courtroom antics to get our client off, so. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, it probably took us at least 2 streams, maybe more, we finally managed to prove his innocence.
It took us more than 2 streams, I guarantee you. Those cases are long.
Oh, for case 1-3, I think that would be? Actually, no, 1-4, because the second case was no court case at all. It was all investigation on the boat. Yeah, it probably took... At that point, we're halfway through the game. It probably took us more than 2.
Wait, this was me.
Yeah.
Joyous! Joy! let me summon up some manic energy here. Joyful! Joyous! Jubilation!
Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. Ugh. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. I'm quoting him. Hurry to Bart's at once. So, Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. Hansom to the hospital. There is a rat in this room.
21st February, 5:30 a.m. St. Bartholomew's Hospital, Recovery Ward. And it's animated too. It's like, hello there.
There you are at last! Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not.
Oh.
You're late! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and is a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant! The fact is, I've been waiting for what felt like an eternity. Real ADHD hours out here. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And, feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now. The victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. She is not the rat. I didn't think she was the rat. You should introduce yourselves. And I shall observe from here. Yes. So that's a lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back.
Her name is... yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Alright, we have to examine, because I must know about...
A rat. A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo. An enormous mouse.
Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
It is a fat rat. Or a mouse, technically, but whatever. It's a big sucker. I'd say it was a rat. I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Alright, we've looked at rat. I believe that our person may be an aspiring artist. Ah, look, there's a photograph in the frame here. We're going to look at it closer.
Oompst. Oh, yes. It's the picture of a young gentleman.
Looks like you got the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for the matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Well, a good enough guess. Let's see, can we eyeball her medical chart from here? Ah, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. HIPAA doesn't exist yet. Do not feed? What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign at our local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person, Susato. Poor woman, I hope she hasn't read this. Man, we're putting everybody on blast. Cops, hospitals, the tax man. Yes, rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruto. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess, I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Okay, fairly respectful. Alright, let's examine. Lucky, do you think you can do a round young lady voice that's different from Susato, or do you want me to field this?
Oh, I can try.
Alright, we'll give it a crack.
Oh.
Teleport. Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. What an odd way to introduce yourself.
Oh no. Was it your knife that... Are you the man who...
No. I'm a lawyer. We're lawyers.
And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no! Was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you. I am Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you have regained consciousness, and I wanted to come give you our best wishes.
I feel like I'm constantly distracted by this little mouse just vibing in the corner.
You need sunglasses and a hat.
Oh, that'd be
Best
cool.
wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not quite right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist.
You got paintbrushes in your coat, that's good.
What I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. To be suddenly struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. The case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Ah, indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly, by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. I was here the whole time.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved that case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Is it going to be our boy, Greggy?
Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never ever gained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
This poor woman.
We are so relieved that you are on the mend, Miss Green. We really are.
That kind of attitude. Maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. You are going to get thrown out this window, buddy. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
How incredibly Victorian.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. Very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10... Hold on.
Am I gonna be done? Someone save him?
Sorry, slight cough. I've been pretty mellow for a couple of days, but my chest's been a little tickly today. It's probably all the fact that I'm flexing my vocal cords. Brixton is 10 stops away from the underground from here. And Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3 minutes walk from Brixton Town Centre. Sorry, Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not. But Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison. Dwelt in by those of inferior means. You know, like your friend, Soseki Natsume. He's broke as shit. Sorry, I didn't realize I was preempting the joke there. Including the maleficent Mr. Musash, yes. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki does fit the bill. He is broke. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. Yes, that's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh, dear me, do forgive me, yes.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder?
Narrow fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Ah, Mr. Narrow Fodder, good. This is for you. There's a message from a Mr. Sashi Nutmeg.
Oh, no. Mr. Natsume? Sent a message? To me? Oh boy, if he's in prison again.
But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on here?
Saucy.
Yeah, saucy Natsume. Yeah, no, it's a good one.
I can't.
And what's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah! What you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh! Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says? Have you not seen this note?
No, you took it from me.
No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
On the way.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Musash's lodgings. Wait, what? Nani?
I do not know how to pronounce this word. Fakir? Fakir?
I don't actually know that one.
I'll hail a figure at once.
Cabby? It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. Sorry, I had a hard time reading that one with a straight face. And now, the very next day, literally the next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Oh, so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover that it was worse than we thought.
Oh no. "21st of February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ground floor."
Good old 718. Well. What on earth?
Oh my. The gentleman is deceased. Without question. He's dead.
Wait, is this?
Locum Sawyer, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Mr. Natsume. So good to see you again.
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got to the court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Waffle, worm without wiggle.
Excellent read, Lucky. I think you remembered how to do the voice quite well. I see you in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache.
Not the horrible hairlock Jones. Shoo, shovel, show yourself the door. I never invited you.
I invited myself.
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I don't know about that one, Susato. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? He's going Super Soseki. Let's see. Who was Gregson last?
It was you. You were totally Gregson.
Yeah, all ready? Busybodies? What's all this then? Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. By which I mean... Oh. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Ah! Introduce, Inspector. That your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine.
Okay, so wasn't this Natsume's flat? Why does it look like it was turned into an impromptu theater?
Well, it's Natsume's address, but I think this is this guy's apartment. Oi, what's that? Hands off. You gonna mess up your crime scene. Oh,
But he said ground floor, right? Was...
I can't remember which floor Natsume was supposed to be on. No, I just wanted to look is all. No chance. I know your kind. You'll mess it all up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Yes.
That's some gas jokes.
Alright, sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and curry some favor. Okay. So, Inspector, what is the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspeare. He was a lodger here. And you can probably tell he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead.
Whoa, is that what it is? The ground floor is not the first floor?
Yes, sorry. The British way is first floor is up one. Ground floor is the ground level. So yeah, if Natsume's in the first floor, he would be up one level.
Okay.
Mr. Shamspeare.
It was the landlord, the old Mr. Garrideb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. Fellow didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garrideb got worried and kicked the door down. Never mind that he's old and he's got a bullet in his knee. Sorry, once again, I've preempted the video game. But doesn't Mr. Garrideb have a bad leg? Oh yeah, you're right, huh? It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Soseki-san? In his gator sandals? He's not wearing socks. Victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done it some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in his house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks old or anything, or he acts suspicious. He acts sus. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the culprit, cohabiter.
I'm gonna slap this man for racism.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion. Again.
It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Oh man, how unfortunate.
Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fellow's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector went allowed, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Ugh. Ew, dead body. Is this separate? No, that's all one. Oh, okay, so I'm pretty sure what that means is that Gregson's just going to yell at us if we look at anything.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love his animation so much.
Just to grab the... Just the...
Oh, shit. What's a terrible thing to have happened?
It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident in the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless extent of excruciating experiences.
So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? I guess that's the British way you spell story.
That's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose.
So, did you know the victim? Were you friends? Mates? Buddies? Pals? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it?
Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never. On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there!
Can we ignore that?
Unfortunately, no. We have clicked on Gregson and Natsume. If we wish to progress the game, I believe we must click Herlock Sholmes. Regrettably. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You don't deserve to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. That's why I'm voguing right now. There's nothing natural about that pose.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. I don't see it that way because I'm fucking bored. At present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions, yes. The first, There was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Ah!
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something Mr. Shom said significant somehow?
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here.
If you keep screaming like that, I don't think I'm going to. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips.
Nonsense! Huh?
All right, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Shom's deductions?
No, please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, inevitable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by one of my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. That's right, baby, this mechanic is back. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this one will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
I would not use the word miracles.
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular. Act 1. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events which transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set for so purposefully on the dish? Like the victim's last supper. In fact, yes, I do conclude. Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears this young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by a foul poison. Yes. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the very contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. Yes. Aha. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Poisoning from soap ingestion. Topic number 2, suicide or murder. Cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we shall ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meagre evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. Don't you agree, Mr. Mustache? The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover up his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellows. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked, which means there definitely couldn't be a murder in here. The sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from which whence wafted an inferior scent. Calling this man out on his soap choices, jeez. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end. in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. No possible perpetrator present.
You know what? Just to speed this along, I just say we fucking send it and go home.
This concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. Yeah, we just are like, okay, cool, let's go. Cockney, fish and chips,
And fish and chips.
There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Nadahodo? Pray, what concerns you?
Oh, don't you worry. It's gonna be more than just one thing, buddy.
Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. Well, classical soap is made with tallow, animal fat.
Listen, we had people eating fucking Tide Pods in the past decade, alright?
How extraordinary.
In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my guts.
And did it?
As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. Experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh? What's that?
It's Mr. Natsume. Ah! I couldn't help noticing shuddering and quiver out of the corner of my eye. Almost as Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow.
Are you sure he's just not a neurotic paranoid? Have we invented the reefer?
No, nonsense!
We need to get this man zooted. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the Great Detective Deduction may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Oh, and we're really obsessed with the truth, aren't we? Well, yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in an obtuse angle. And he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Naruhodo, I don't know how much in this room is straight. Alright then, let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions. And discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll avoid what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
Giving him a lot of credit. In that case, are you ready for a second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Well, he does admit that he knows we're about to do this, so I guess it is kind of part of the course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes! We're not going to reread Sholmes' dialogue.
Yeah, nah, we're good.
Okay.
Wait, weren't we supposed to hit that? Or we're not able to?
Hold on, is it forcing me to go through it all again?
Is it?
Let me turn on auto. Actually, no.
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
the
seeing anything in the
fuzzy
buttons. Stop.
words. I think that he does. Yeah, fork. And then he goes, what? Now we're in. Za, what are the...
Should we read these bits out? Let's not.
Okay, we can skip over them.
That leaves us more room to actually talk about things.
It's true. We gotta deduce. That is funny though. I would use a fork rather than chopsticks. But it's only half a bar. Okay, so we're gonna look around for something. Hold on. I think I see it.
Yeah.
The other half of the soap. And then I think we just triangle present.
Take that!
Take
Yeah.
that!
Spin.
Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course! The other piece of soap reveals the answer. I love how extra Ryunosuke gets in these parts, too. It being the
Well,
other
yeah.
half of the soap on the table. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, I just love. Well, he has to be, you know, just as stylish as Mr. Holmes. Otherwise, it's not gonna be equal, you know.
Also, yes, if you've just come back, Axe, we're in the case now. We're deducing. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. What are you talking about? It's fucking crazy, man. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite of soap. That begs the question, how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo. One that furnishes us with the answers we seek. Alright, now he's just saying the poison again. Victim's life was claimed by the poison. Contents of the plate. Okay, so now we're...
Soap agenda.
No, he did not lick the soap. Yeah, I don't want to wash my hands if it's that bad. No signs of any food.
Actually, there is a history of very abrasive soaps.
I mean, it's
Very
true,
bad
you
for
know. Do not consume soap. Okay, so. Well, where could the poison be? I mean, I think our only... Yeah, we've got, what, fork? That's already where we're at. And I cannot... Yeah, these are my two camera angles, so I think it's gotta be...
Yeah, I think it's the teacup.
I mean, let me click on the teacup and see if we can look closer. Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves.
What? It's. I was about to say. It's
This is
like,
how
what
to
are we getting
fucking call it
fancy here?
about. It's empty. Was drinking tea. Okay, so that did not change anything, but we did suggest that it's tea, so we'll try presenting.
Take that!
Bah! Yes, the victim's life is claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Ah, indeed! Cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners for centuries! And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. Except possibly for that stain there. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. Schwa. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in his teacup. Poison in the tea. Now we've got to figure out if there was anybody here who could have done a crime. Alright, proceed to Act 2. Okay, so I think the exclamation points are just trying to let us know that we should keep our eye on something. Question marks are when we actually get to do a gameplay.
God damn it again.
Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks. I like how Susano's immediately given up trying to correct him. Nothing remarkable about a teacup. Yeah, Mr. Natsume's being weird. Let's examine the scene of the crime for clues. Okay. Ratchet out the camera. Let me see. Ha!
Ah.
Well, I think I've solved the problem, chat.
Take that!
There's two fucking teacups. Did the man die and dine alone? The other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Inspector Gregson said nothing, even though he's standing on that side of the fucking room. Can I get a Soseki? Ah!
I thought we weren't reading these.
Oh no, these are new.
Oh.
In conclusion, there's a strong indication that the victim's last supper... There was a guest present who definitely did not look like this weird silhouette. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody was here in this room last night taking tea with the victim.
What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable.
Oh, and now he's repeating a line. Oh, okay. Now Ryunosuke has a new line. In which case, is there... What more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. You mean to say you know who was exactly in this room at the time of the victim's death? Too much to go back to the days of eating soap. Alright, show me the camera.
Books.
Okay. Let's double check. There is a candle. That doesn't do anything. Here's an empty bottle. Let's examine the books.
I bet they belong to somebody. He took those books.
Yes, we have to recall this because this was evidence in the case, but it's been... would have been like 2 cases and a whole ass game break before people got back to this. So these are Mr. Natsume's books. Or books that exactly match Mr. Natsume's book buying list. Yep. Okay, well, now that we've changed it, I think that is going to be the answer. Well, we missed it because we didn't look closely at him. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Righto. It is no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are in this room. It is the link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop.
It's just a coincidence.
In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? Yes. This very moment!
No, non-negotiable.
If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. What the fuck is this silhouette? Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have bought the books here this evening, but you never mentioned that one. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... Ryunosuke's so bad if you get interrupted. Was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume? Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. Soseki Natsume on the scene. Elementary. Yeah. Now, where does that put us? Because we've just indicted our client.
Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again!
Well then, Mr. Natsume, it will appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again.
But wait! Hold your horses!
I don't have any horses. Yes?
Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible.
That last one wasn't an alliteration. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What, you think that's an alibi? You could just made a copy.
What?
You live in the same building after all. And you've had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
But... Misery me!
Yes, you certainly are miserable. But sorry, sir, you'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. In the court. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
Ah, you horrible Herlock Sholmes!
He has found himself an arch rival there, hasn't he? Come on now, come on. No dilly-dallying. Or shilly-shallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. I had it here the whole time because I knew it was you because of my racial profiling.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruto Esquire. I never thought, imagine I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me! Please, please! I'm innocent!
Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
And one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me!
Can do.
Water, did not go order.
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective, which I fixed because he was totally gonna let him get away with it. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you! I was gonna let bygones be bygones, you know? Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
Time to touchy! Ah, that's right. I mean, yes, that's right. Ah, and of course...
What?
Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadib, who discovered Mr. Shamspear.
Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual.
Right. So I'm to go and talk to him later then. But first, I'm going to take all this evidence and put it in my pockets. Alrighty. Okay. Alright. First things first. What the fuck?
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances?
Aspiring to be to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience.
Susato, are you about to tell me you're into kabuki or some shit?
In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
Oh no, you're gonna get me the other way. What? Nani?
Then you can practice your art every single day.
I'll think about it if you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
This I've got to see. Didn't really learn anything. Is this
Mm.
all one unit with the gas meter?
Well, we should hit it. It's investigative.
Yeah. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. It looks like a meter of some sort.
Ah, this is a gas meter, I think.
I see the problem with the gas meter being on the inside.
It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins.
Oh, that's right. Ah, I see. Yes, now that you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here,
Right? It would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating.
so if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes, Ryunosuke. Welcome to capitalism.
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Oh, okay, the gas lamp is separate. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? Almost as if there was some sort of gas lighting that could be going on. It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall.
Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas.
But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they?
Oh, yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Honestly, I kind of prefer a wood-burning fire, too.
What burning fires too? I'm all about that pellet stove though. They nice.
Alright, so we got some costumes, and we got the brick window. Let's probably remind us about the bricketing.
As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. Like stamps, and tea, and paper, and whiskey.
War's expensive.
It's true. But the Americans really didn't like those taxes.
No, they didn't.
We were very nettled. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up the windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh,
Oh, what is this, Mr. Zato?
if you look closely, a number of bricks are loose.
Loose bricks? Dramatic zoom. Hey! Oi! Those bricks are loose. Oh, yes. So an amateur has broken a few of them out just then. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting the room, that makes logical sense.
Oh, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge,
Are those 2 bars of soap in that ledge?
and there's something on it.
What, outside? Oh, do I have to double examine?
Yeah. Oh, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
Yeah, London in February? Ugh. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps?
It's more bars of soap.
I would have said kilos of cocaine. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. 2 after all.
Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
Ah,
You see, in the middle there, there's a patch of it that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but
some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
it looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's Probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? What is it doing in this ramshackle old room? Bar of soap. We'll look at that later.
I'll see
Is my
you
car right? Yeah, it's car one for
later.
court record. So what we got? Hold on. Got my armband. Got my secondhand book receipt. Oh, so we kept the evidence from yesterday. We've got our map of the local street. And now we've added the soap. Is this a full? It is, okay. So we can look at this.
This part is a different color. It's an exquisite design, isn't it?
Trust the British to turn a boring bar of soap into something special.
Can we peel that off? I quite like it. It reminds me of the Hinomaru design of the Japanese flag. I expect this is rather expensive soap.
It doesn't seem likely, given who it belongs to. Okay, no, we cannot
can't
fuck with it right now.
Okay.
All right. Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, what with its grim, shady goings-on.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo, or such like.
With a chonmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he has a chonmage.
Oh, you look wonderful with one. And you already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around on the streets of London with a chonmage and a sword? I mean, people would be very racist to you, but they would also be very interested because currently the British are inventing Orientalism. All right, well, let's look at the dead guy, even though we don't want to touch him.
Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was?
Depends on the poison. Don't know. All we can do now is hope he'll be reborn in a better life. Pay respects.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry? Sorry?
I made sure I had a reverend at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. Whomst wrote this?
Mr. Sato, where did you find such a book?
I'll just reread it now. One moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there?
This is why we're broke. You keep buying weird-ass books.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, what's that?
There's a thing. A letter.
What's this?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
I've heard of and like seen in movies people open letters that way. I cannot imagine doing it that way. The flap is right there.
Oh no, I do it that way.
Really?
Yeah. Like I can't tell you exactly why, but like sometimes it's easier. Like if it's a regular ass envelope and they haven't like sealed the entire fucking thing down, yeah, no, it's easier just to do the flap. But if they've like sealed the entire fucking thing down, no, it's just faster to rip open the side.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the style of envelope. Like
Yeah.
there'd definitely be some. And I don't know. Maybe if I hadn't gotten out of the habit of opening correspondence the other way, like Amazon packages and a lot of stuff are tear from the side.
Yeah. No, like, yeah, no, like, if someone just, like, like, licks, like, the tip of the envelope and it's just that part that's stuck down, yeah, no, it's just, finger through it. But if, like, the entire thing is sealed, sometimes it can be a pain to get it open without using, like, a knife or a letter opener. So, yeah, I've gotten to the habit of just tapping it on one side to move it all down and just going on the side. Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there. Missing envelopes.
She's right.
And yet here we have a torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual.
I agree. We better take this, just in case. Torn off envelope has been added to the court record.
We're not even in the court yet.
Yes, but we do already have a client. Oh, this is separate. Hold on.
There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper. That's all.
That's right, the Reaper. Yes.
Prosecutor
Das Blut.
Lord Van Zeeks?
Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking that it's a waste and you should donate some to the needy.
You can suggest it next time we meet. Alright. No, okay. Alright, wait. The teacup is separate, okay.
Western vessels to hold hot infused drinks.
Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I feel like she grabbed me by the lapel because my controller vibrated for that. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty.
That's true. So one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other must have been the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Or was he? Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Pair of teacups. That's right, just steal evidence.
That was probably it then.
There we go. Okay, now we've looked at everything.
Yoink.
Oh, I think I know who this is.
That's probably Gyarados.
Oh, no, it is
Oh.
Gregson. Inspector Gregson. You back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place should be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then.
Bye.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell so soon.
I'm sure we should
What?
go and...
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I think I did this guy last time he appeared. Let me get my theatrical. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day. Yes. Blah. Walking Dead! The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare? So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. The man had indeed been poisoned. It transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson infected us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. Attempted murder. So yes, welcome to one of the very few times in Ace Attorney history that it's not actually a murder case. It turns out that guy ain't dead, which is good because he's just so fucking extra.
Briar Road. Who that? Oh, look, there's the soap. Whatever you think will happen now.
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. It's crazy.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison, as we deducted. But it was an accident? Was it an accident? Attempted suicide or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? There's mysterious yellow man. What's he doing over there? So he's trying to look into Soseki-san's lodgings.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me. Can we have a word? He fucking ninja vanished. He just ran off.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
Well, I mean, it's still a criminal case, but it's a different charge than murder. That is a problem that Ace Attorney often has. It's always fucking murder. And this time, this guy's not dead. I do too, but I don't remember. Alright, well, let's look at the soap from the outside. With the exception of the top floor, where Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the numbers of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poor members of society filled in many of their windows.
But the tax has since been abolished, haven't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely?
Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done.
Yes, that is a sad state of affairs.
We have not reached the DIY era. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodations.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
Really, game? Okay. We're gonna just ignore the soap. Anything funny happening over here? Well, there's our buddy the snowman, but I don't think that's relevant. Let's see.
Oh,
Where
we
can
can
we
move.
go? Oh, we've got a couple. So, we can go to the Garadeb's room and we can go to prison. And we can go to all these places, but it's interesting that Miss Green's hospital bed is still here. Let's do the Garadeb's room. It's next on our list.
We're right here.
21st of February, the Garadeb's room.
Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
Oh, excuse me. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget.
No.
Who did his voice?
I believe you did, Mr. Garadeb.
Let's see. Let's get a little raw.
Ah, you chaps, eh?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Yeah, I suppose you like know all about that dead loss of the actor chap from the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Oh shit, he's standing up. Put his teacup down. Alright, we'll converse with him. This morning's incident must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened.
Oh, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail.
Jesus.
But 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bolly answer.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door.
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? Man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior,
I'm gonna get called out.
I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Mr.
Okay.
Garrett, are you hiding something? It's just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
Alright, tell me about Mr. Shamspear, if that is his real name. Victim's
cannot
name
be
is
his real name.
Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yep, William Shamspear. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
Alright, 3 months. Start putting it all together, chat.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute.
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Saseki-san would fall into.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
Stop reading my mind, Susato!
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Drugs. Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old Bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
This is
I did not
actually
know that.
true. I'm trying to remember which... There's an old Kurosawa film. Is it Ran? One of them is just King Lear, but Japanese. Like, not. It's. I don't think it's as crazy as Sherlock Holmes, but I believe some of Shakespeare's plays have been taken off in Japan. Seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have much in common.
I cast doubt.
Hmm. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude!
I said that with my inner voice, Susato. Stop doing that. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between now and then? Sorry, this morning?
Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time.
It's 6 o'clock on a February night. Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. His bricked-up, closed-off room with no windows.
Couldn't send him the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was right after 8 before Shamspiel got back. And the tap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know.
Jesus, he goes to bed at 1 and gets up at 5?
So I suppose he made his id sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating.
Enough of the light puns.
Is everything all right, Miss Susato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all.
Which part?
Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly.
I'm a big fan of the stairs, not with this blasted leg.
I think before I gave him more of a Western accent, but I think it's working out fine. Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movement of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean.
Uh-oh!
Susato obliterated all of his bones. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? As he's crushing his pipe.
I'm sorry, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know?
Well, because you're military, I'm more inclined to think that you spy.
I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how do you know, Mr. Garadeb?
It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything.
The gas? The gas. Speaking of gas. Oh my god, Ryunosuke. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, I'm not! The gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I more or less worked that out.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously, the room would get brighter.
Exactly. At the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. I understand the rule of volumes.
Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Really good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long wore out.
Man, don't know what that's like, having bad infrastructure that needs replacing.
And barely got any gas in them to start with.
This is the part where everybody in chat, just thinks about whatever their local, road work ongoing is.
Road work, power line, internet. Opposite's true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here, and they glow brighter than the rest of the house.
Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
Got it.
Oh, of course. Because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever. Girl.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it uses slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closer, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
This is a man with too much time on his hands.
He has a bum leg. What else he's gonna fucking do?
I was about to say he needs a hobby. Sir, perhaps painting miniatures.
No, those are expensive.
Probably true.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating.
He should straighten that portrait of himself.
Oh, well, nothing to it, really.
And I can't really see that it's going to help us with this case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrett is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. Renosuke, we just covered this. He's on a medical discharge and has a bad leg. He literally has nothing better to do with his time. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. I should have to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Good, yes. Leave my fucking house already. God. Alright. Prison.
Prison.
Oh my.
21st of February. Local prison. Cell 9. Was he in cell 9 before?
I don't remember, but probably.
Look, Mr. Naruto.
I love that we can see his fucking sandals, too. I didn't catch that part of his design before.
Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Look up to Mr. Naruto, Esquire.
Yeah?
Where is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They're left to me. Oh, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you!
Well, that sort of hurts.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruto. You were heavily involved in deduction, too.
Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news!
Oh?
I love his fucking reaction.
The victim that we thought was dead has come back to life again.
Now, in absolutely the worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it? Mr. Natsume?
It's terrible! Oh! I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick! You did it, didn't you? Confess! You're the killer! Why the mustache?
God.
Constant questions!
I'm sorry to hear that, especially about your mustache.
Oh, that selfish shyster! Make up your mind! Are you dead or alive? If you are going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly, wishy-washy, William!
Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspeare was never actually dead in the first place.
Ah, yes, that might make sense. I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh. Oops.
Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspeare, didn't you?
I'm not saying another word. I have to demand the pull of your present.
Who do you think I am? I'm sorry, let me say that better. Who the hell do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. I'm your fucking lawyer.
Why am I cursed like this?
Because they're in an Ace Attorney game.
Converse.
What happened? What happened? Can you tell us what exactly happened last night then, Mr. Natsume?
There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Nodoharo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful for you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday.
Case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back.
It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
It was
After the
2
trial
years
was
ago.
After the trial was over, I trudged my way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspeare.
So you did go to the victim's room then?
As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time.
Then what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when he arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell.
That ties in with what Mr. Garrett said. The victim went out and came back after 8.
We met again later that evening, at around 9 or so. Or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had been clearly drunk at the scene then. J'accuse! Kill him!
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, weren't you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare.
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shakespeare's tea?
No, never, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Team Juliet won, that was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was a fighting fit. I swear it, categorically.
Also, I think Mr. Natsume just admitted to being a power scaler. Discussing who was stronger between Romeo and Juliet. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
Well, I'm sure I've mentioned to you this before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned it's no place for me.
True.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to other ways of another culture. Blah. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me.
Mood.
The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no. He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would
Was
want
the
to live
gas.
in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting engineer recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay.
Let
I
he
realize
who
it-
has not eaten ice soup to get video games and anime cast the first stone.
When I realized it mean I could buy more books, I signed that lease like lightning.
Brave or blinkered?
After I moved on, I came soon to realize what I've done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful?
I think he has actually described it in the previous game. Well, we're gonna get a good one. Let's get in there.
What did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to that place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
Ah, sleep paralysis demons. Yeah, I get that sometimes. It really is horrible.
And now that I come to think of it, it happened again last night, too. The very same night that Mr. Shakespeare was writhing in agony from poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. This is actual fucking gas poisoning. This is like...
Yeah, there's some fucking shit going on here.
Yeah. You must simply move out of that room as soon as possible.
Literal gas leak episode.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try avoiding accommodations with any kind of history at all. Those are expensive. Otherwise, I'm scared that you'll yourself may become history.
Susato-san knows how to make the man listen. By throwing them. Alright, we've exhausted our topics. What's up, homie?
Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garadeb?
Yes. He knows that the people keep dying there. He'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. And I live in an attic.
Perhaps... that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements.
He's trying to see if they fucking died? Because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. The gas in the pipes. There must be such a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
If I remember correctly, I believe natural gas naturally settled down.
I think it's heavier than air, yeah.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no. It's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything.
Nah, man. Rat that landlord out.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important that Mr. Shamspeare isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come round and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Ahem.
no idea what this-
Excuse me.
Oh.
Oh, it's me, Inspector Gregson again. Inspector Gregson! I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh.
Which do you want first?
Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Right, well then, in that case, the good news it is!
Oh, huh?
Sorry, but it's a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell.
No, sorry, no, that's not in the cards.
What? Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone?
Oh dear. You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing his finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Mr. Natsmag.
Ah!
By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wicked Caitiff Soseki Natsume. End quote. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations.
No! Oh.
Yoy! And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Oof.
All right, I think that might be a good moment to, to be continued. Let's take a break.
Let's take a fiver.
Oh, take a fiver. I need to get some water. The Soseki voice gives me a little scratch.
Yeah, it's a little raspy. All right, we'll leave it on the save point. We're gonna step in
I'll
the
be right
chat
back.
and juice up.
Okay, I'm back. I drank some water and then I got more vodka and juice to dull the pain of my existence. Let's go check on Discord what's going on. Let's see here. 14's having log on difficulties, but we have recovered, thankfully. Hmm. Let's see here. They're adding more ships to the permanent construction school in Azur Lane. That's nice. Nothing really out of FGO or Blue Archive, though. Everyone's just waiting for summer to start over in here, and everyone's just vibrating for anniversary to hit in a couple weeks in JP. The bets are hot and live for who the anniversary servant's going to be. Let's see here. I should probably log into the ZZZ real quick and make sure I get my friends. And I realize I've been playing this game for like a week or two now, and I haven't actually added anyone from our Discord to it. I posted my UID in the the chat room at like, I don't know, like 3 a.m. last night. So who knows? Maybe someone saw it.
Maybe. And I'm
Maybe.
back.
But Mega's back.
Yes. Remove-ish the fishing. Get Discord. Let me clear off these notifs real quick. People be posting. All right. Tab back.
Oh, if you're curious about my Triple Z UID, it'd be in the Hoyoverse chat room. They, I'm sorry, Hoyo games do not get each their own individual. You get one. (22nd of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber.
All right. We're already in court. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, didn't think I'd be back here so soon.
I don't know who that line is.
I'm going to guess it's probably Natsume, but let's tap it over and see. It is.
Yes, it is. Good morning.
Ah. Good morning, Mr. Natsume.
It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here.
Yes, we did manage to somehow prove you didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
But now this! Another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court!
I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he is cursed.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Mr. Natsume? Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Yes, morning.
So, here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires, what's the bad news?
Oh dear. You heard, didn't you? Did you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
Oh, I am sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Mr. Sato. Now, what is it?
Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial, will be led by Lord Berg von Sykes. Because they don't have anyone else, apparently.
Van Zeeks?
Ah! Oh no, oh no, no.
Who did Van Sykes? I think I did it because
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, you Van Zeeks.
not.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in the land. In a trial 2 days ago, he pursued Suzaki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth. We managed to pull through. But still...
Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter. After all.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says... Nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor.
Oh no.
That's right, bro. You are actually cursed.
That even if the person is not found guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another.
Oh, we experienced it firsthand. Whoosh. A man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal, right here in the Old Bailey. Because they brought the whole fucking cab inside for some reason.
Ah, do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? As by evil spirits, and now by the Reaper. Are petrifying perils, potentially.
Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Yes?
I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You, more than anyone now.
Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. This promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Especially because we only got, like, 3 pieces of evidence from the first half.
Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go.
It's me, Naruhodo.
Ah, yes. I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
That's okay, we couldn't count on him anyway. It's probably for the best.
Oh,
If we were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zeeks was to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling.
I am here to drink my wine and give you das Boot.
Mr. Naruhodo.
You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said.
I swear on this sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. Because we've definitely decided that it's, you know, his soul or something. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free. With honor.
Honor with a U. Because we're British now.
Oh, yes. Actually, I'm just going to open up Zenless Zone Zero here anyway, because for some odd reason, the caching takes fucking forever regardless.
I have noticed even on PS5 it takes a little bit of juice to make sure all the assets are in order.
22nd of February, 9:40 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom.
Starting our trial at 9:40, I see.
Boomst. Wait. Is that who I think?
Wait, who does the judge?
I started doing the judge, but trying to do his voice was really killing me, I think, in the last case. I think you took it over.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready.
The defense is ready, my lord.
Readiness for trial, my lord and Nipponese friend, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat.
It's not just in my imagination, it's really there. Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason.
It was some time ago that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet,
Nope, it's not me.
Nope, it's mine. Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason, only when I'm defending. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. You could probably solve this mystery by asking some people anyway. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Suseki-san's trial.
Furthermore, I now call upon 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty?
Absolutely. I had the feeling this larrikin wasn't innocent before. It's me, Bruce Fairplay. I don't remember who did Hat Lady.
I know, but was she here before? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
these
remember.
guys are identical to the last time Saseki was in court.
I don't want to do another lady's voice.
Okay.
I'm already at 2.
Yep. I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days in which my hat refuses to sit right.
I can probably do this one. Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the root look is very fetching, actually.
Now, I think this lady is different.
Oh, this one is new. I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick. Oh, I'm pretty sure you did this one.
Hold on. Couldn't agree more. We need to take home 5 bob tonight when the missus will be through the roof.
You want to do Grandpa or I do Grandpa?
Let's see. I think I'm at 3, so this would be your
All
third.
Oh, may the Lord show us the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict.
Are you a preacher now, old man?
The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's like they say random, but we got half the same people. It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of the judgment is in the hand of 6 members of the public. And that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt. I say,
6 citizens of London chosen at random, or at least that's the idea.
The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today.
It is definitely not a cost-saving measure for the animation team.
yeah, that's bias.
Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Von Zeeks, your opening statement, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences.
You are leading the jury? Stop that.
Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate the most blood-curdling crime.
I don't know where my accent's going with this.
Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman.
Ugh!
To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand.
Wait, what about my statement?
The detective responsible for investigating the scene and the accused himself.
I'm very surprised we didn't cut to an animation of Ryunosuke with the cloak over his face.
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. Sir.
Sosuke Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student. Study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume. Yes, my lord, sir. I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken. You swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it if it was yesterday.
The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough.
Ugh, believe me, this is the last place I want to be.
Inspector, let's hear it from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Well, you got the read, but I hit X a little fast there. Watch you, sir. It's simple, really. The incident occurred at Garrett household where the defendant has his lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare. Yes, I did say Shakespeare. Now, the defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim in the night in question. Mr. Shakespeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. He was found the following morning when the landlord suspected something was wrong and broke down the door. Excuse me, sorry, slight burp there.
This means I presume that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident.
Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Ah, the classic. Although the victim, Mr. Shakespeare, lives to tell tale, he very nearly didn't. Man was halfway to everyone found him at first.
More likely to hell.
I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have this photographic print here. I took it at the time to show how it looked.
There's a puddle at the bottom underneath the gas.
There is, indeed.
Yeah, it's a chilling scene indeed. This man looks very much deceased.
That's right. Everyone present believed exactly that's what he was. We forgot to check for his pulse. We're dumb.
Very well. I shall accept this photographic.
I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court.
Crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. Photographic print having been poisoned.
Now then, Mr. Natsume. Yes! Yes! As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture?
It wasn't me.
They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits.
Oh, please don't say that.
Good gracious. What's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings.
Oh, please don't say that to the jury.
The dinner before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me, what about me? I've nearly been killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume? How?
Well, the judge is taking him seriously, at least.
Even on that fateful night it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shakespeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me.
I know this is me just having future knowledge of gases and stuff, but it's so fucking obvious.
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold! My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor.
Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point.
Conclusive? Go on.
If it's that Mr. Shakespeare says that Natsume poisoned him, I got a thing to tell you about witness reliability.
Fortunately, it is. The victim, Mr. Shakespeare, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. These nuts.
Ah! He got me with these nuts!
The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
Yeah.
Order! Order!
No, we're already at order.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the whole crux of this case. If Saseki's-san is innocent, why has the victim accused him?
Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you say to this accusation?
That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I finished Mr. Shamspear's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result! Never will I touch tea again! Never!
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
Will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity.
Okay. Sorry about that. OBS dropped for a sec.
Uh-oh. None whatsoever, my lord.
I still want my Van Zykes game.
Good. Then you will now give your account of events on the night in question to the court now.
Yes! My lord!
Witness testimony. Catastrophic night.
It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me, otherwise could he?
I mean, I don't know what the timetables for Strychnine are, but Mr. Garrett said that he didn't go to bed until 1, so it's like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, actually, he's going to talk about it. Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. Argument still stands. Yeah.
Yeah, but would he sit back down and drink more tea? And didn't he leave and come back?
No, that was, so he was out at 7, he returned at 8, or he was out at 6, returned at 8.
Oh, and then he came back, gave him tea, and then they both went to bed. Okay.
At about 9, Natsume went up to him. They talked for about 2 hours, according to Natsume, just now. And then Mr. Garrett says that he put his light, Shamspear put his lights out at 1 a.m.
Okay.
Yes, I see. That all seems relatively straightforward.
No, look, he has a bad time of keeping the time straight. Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they?
What did I think of that? Well, as it happens, no, we haven't been able to. Because you've got the bloody teacups in your back pocket, dumbass.
Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance.
How could you overlook something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done?
My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed.
What?
The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked.
Unable? Why? It's simple.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Gregson. It's simple enough. There is none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed, if you know what I'm saying. Wink, wink, nudge, say no more.
Fish and chips, fish and chips. With current scientific techniques, it is not possible to test for poison under such circumstances.
Yeah, sadly, we can't get a full toxicology blood work. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
What?
I see. Thank you. The matter is clear. Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
Huh? What?
You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused guilt.
I mean, not
I just see
really.
static
Maybe a couple of
sprites.
them. They're just kind of chilling. That guy doesn't know anything.
Your client's fate is all but still. I'm old! In mere moment from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity.
You sure you're not the Reaper? He's right. I can feel all 6 jurors looking daggers at me. Especially that one who doesn't have any open eyes. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't.
Bonk. Counsel for defense, proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. All right, cross X. We're playing the game. Oh, we got 5 statements. Okay. Any particular area where we want to press first? Let's see. That has a time in
Let's
it.
read through the whole. Let's read through all the lines first, real quick.
Oh yeah, this is what we just read out. So, tickets, teas,
Yeah.
of gifts,
Mm-hmm.
heated literary debates.
Around 11.
Okay, harmless tea. Gregson talks about strychnine. And then would have been perfectly able to lock the door. So we got 2 Gregson statements at the end and 3 Natsume.
Well, again, the thing that pops out is we found the victim in the pose of drinking tea.
true.
So
He had 1 cup in his hand still.
he had a cup in his hand and he had a So if he was able to lock the door behind him, that implies that he was able to get up. And so, I mean, it's a little bit of a shaky premise, but it seems to imply that he, like, kept drinking tea?
Maybe.
My immediate thought is that he had a second visitor.
That could be it. Do you want to just start at the front end and keep pressing?
Yeah.
L1. Please. Were you and your neighbor good friends then?
Ah, no. We weren't friends. Not at all. Not at all. Never, ever.
A simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit?
Mr. Shamshill fancies himself having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together.
Oh, no. No Nipponese can understand the finer points of English literature. Someone throw a boot at this man.
Yeah, Rinosuke's just gonna let that one go, even though I believe canonically he was also a student of English. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume.
It was the day of my last trial, when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings, when I ran into Master Shamspeare outside on the street. That was around 6 o'clock.
Okay, you left out at 6 o'clock.
We exchanged 1 or 2 pleasantries, but soon turned it into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though. So I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have ill intentions? No, not 1, not 2, not any. Not at all. Never, ever. A simple no would have sufficed, I feel.
Then tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room. Isn't this my cross-ex? Shut up!
Give him another boot.
Literary debate about Shakespeare's works, I think you said, didn't you? That's where we'll figure out the judge is super learned.
Shakespeare? Oh, a very worthy topic of conversation, I must say.
Oh, yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet, who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parley.
Romeo and Juliet? Who was stronger?
I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go?
Well, we both agreed that it would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out. In a Greco-Roman style, naturally.
Nani?
What? Mr. Chancellor had all sorts of costumes in his room for just such a contest.
So when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume?
He as Romeo, I as Juliet. After a vigorous wild tussle, I as Juliet came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever! I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct? I poured the water in my room and made a pot to take it with me. I heard he was too poor to have tea himself, you see?
It's true, there were no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room.
I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion? My tea was harmless, of course it was. And do you have any basis for that statement, witness? I mean, yeah, let's go right into it.
I mean, I don't know if this counts as basis, but sure, we'll quiz him on that. Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there? That's correct. Anyone would think a fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which is a pity, because one drop was all we would have needed to analyze it for poison.
That one dropper probably said there were no poison, then they wouldn't have a victim, so they probably wouldn't have done it.
And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume?
Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it.
The landlord was able to verify that as it happens. He confirmed the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night. So we're talking about Mr. Garrett's
How is the landlord able to attest to this?
He said it was the lamps, I believe.
The lamps, Inspector.
When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker.
Yes, Mr. Garrett seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one key to Mr. Shamspeare's room. I know that for certain. He must have locked the door himself, from inside his room.
The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes?
So I'm right. My tea was harmless. Completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that.
It's not that simple, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
And that's going to lead into Gregson's statement.
Hold it!
How long does it take for symptoms to appear, then? Oops. Missed my button. According to the coroner, I was speaking to a ER about 30 minutes after poison's consumed. Yeah, so... The victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. So you get a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure.
Oh dear. Death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
30 minutes is a long time.
Thank you for that, Benzix.
Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
Yeah, you can't deny that. It further degrades Sasekison's alibi. Oh, thank you very much, Gregson. Here we go, that's what we need. I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it.
Very well. The court will add this report to the court record as evidence.
Give me that evidence.
Oh, yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Great.
Great.
All right, well, let's crack open the court record and look at what we got. Anything in here? No, that's nothing yet. Well, he's correct. There's no fucking tea.
But one of the cups have a line in it, though.
That's true.
That's a residue.
Let me see if we can get that. This must be the cup Mr. Shamsy was drinking from then. Stain the inside.
He does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea.
Oh, really? I've never noticed before.
You never noticed?
Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it?
Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. And most of them are Japanese.
Check the other cup. Curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a new line of dialogue. Oh, uh-oh.
This is the teacup from which Mr. Nostame was drinking.
Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of this cup is completely clean.
I suppose he must have drunk the contents of the tea before the tea had a chance to leave a mark.
I always gulp it down, too.
Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold.
Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea.
Ah, okay, all right. That is good. That will come up later. All right. That's our teacups. So we got a crime scene photograph. We can't really click on anything. We do got our magnifying glass.
Yeah, that puddle is sus as fuck.
There's a weird puddle. There's the cup. He's got the other cup.
Soap.
There's a fork. Soap. You can see the brick window, but nothing weird about it. Costumes. Let's read the medical report. My name is Shamspear, 31. Ingestion of small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects per 30 minutes. Just mixed with the tea victim was drinking. But sample could be obtained for testing. Poisoning incident occurred around 1:30 a.m. Assessed from his pocket watch that was broken.
Okay, well, you already have something inconclusive. If he left around 11, he couldn't... Okay.
Let me press our last statement. And then see if we can look for the statement about him.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to say, is it? Pair of them drank tea together that night. So if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door, but accused left later on.
Exactly. Me and my tea are innocent. Sweet and innocent, I tell you.
I'm afraid, sir, it doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear. So you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank your tea. As long as you did that, Mr. Shamspear would have locked the door after you're gone.
But no. We drank the tea straight away.
He's gonna say drink the tea while it's hot.
The battle over which Romeo and Juliet was stronger. That came after the tea. Do you have any evidence to support that statement? In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying.
Yep.
Drink tea while it's hot.
Sure, our proverb will satisfy the prosecution. Even Ryunosuke knows this one's not gonna work.
I'm afraid there's no conclusive report to support this defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there's sufficient grounds to infer his guilt on this matter.
Lies.
No.
Take scientific testimony, is it?
If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruhodo.
Of course. Go ahead.
Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently. Yet Inspector Gretchen just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating.
I agree. We need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think.
I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty.
As I see it, we need to focus on the poison and the tea. Listen carefully to his testimony again. Okay. So, let's see. We've got the teacup and the... Let's see. A drink. I room at around 11. What's your next statement? Tea was completely harmless. I mean, this is the one where he says he went back to 11, and we have the time at 1:30, so I think that's where we would present the medical report?
Yeah.
Let's
Either
try it.
that or the slow acting, but I think this is gonna be one of those ones where we just have to kind of wing it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but...
Objection.
Oh, the music did drop. Mr. Natsume, you say it was 11 p.m. when you left to your return to your room, correct?
Yes.
Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical report unconditionally? Oh, we're gonna be so smug.
Of course we can.
Of course we can. There's no problem with that report, sunshine.
Excellent. Barry, you're
He's
Smug Snowsuke.
Actually, I think there's a very big problem. Because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony. A chrono what? What are you on about? Speak plain English, man. According to this report, which I am shuffling in my hand even though it's clearly shown in a clipboard, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning, and yet the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11. Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 2.5 hours after the defendant left?
Why is he
The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zix?
Fuck you. Oh, shit. He's got the fucking wine.
Where'd it come from?
I keep it underneath my desk. Bleh.
It probably does keep it underneath his desk.
Pray forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered.
He's gonna smash it.
I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hollow chalice this much. And I forgot I was in this hollow chalice.
Also, yeah, I want to bring this up. It's 9:40 in the morning, and he's pouring a glass of wine.
5 o'clock somewhere. How could it happen, you asked? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nippon-knee trend seems to be chasing a phantom idea.
A phantom? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report, yes, at around 1:30.
Objection.
Mr. Natsume brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there is a well-known saying, drink tea while it's hot.
Objection.
And in my country, there is an even more apt saying. There's nothing more refreshing than a cold tea.
That's not true at all, is it? The point is, if there was such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim was poisoned. Other possibilities. It's called reasonable doubt, motherfucker. Have you heard of it?
What sort of possibilities, counsel?
I don't fucking know. Do I look like an investigator to you? Well,
Oh,
for example,
I mean, yeah.
could have had another visitor?
Another visitor. A very bold assertion, my learned friend. From someone who has nothing to substantiate it. You have nothing to substantiate that he didn't drink the fucking tea!
Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition.
You suggest this may have been a suicide, Counsel.
Objection!
Mr. Samshire has categorically denied suicide.
We'll get his ass down here.
The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection!
Yeah, that's definitely an objection. Uh-oh, shit. Getting a little weak. Getting a little under pressure. But he could be lying.
I don't know. I think just stony silence is just.
Even more stony silence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, he's doing it 3 sets of ellipses?
Is something wrong, Lord Van Zykes? Zeeks. I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the.
Oh, he did show up.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Carriage? What carriage? The one I'm going to go see your mom. Ha!
It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived.
Thank God. Hold it. It's no, what was her name? Giselle Brett's. Shut up! Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets upon his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Much like this Vogue pose I'm doing.
Who, sir, are you?
Come on, Judge. William Shakespeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I, undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What? What is he doing here? Wasn't he in the hospital?
The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With this testimony, my lord friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed.
You're calling him as a witness?
Very well, counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victor himself.
Yeah.
Actually, Mega, we are at the 3-hour mark. Would you like to call it here, or you want to keep going?
That was what I was gonna ask. Do we want to call it when it switches to witness testimony? That way we can start with gameplay right away.
Yeah. I think that, like I said,
It's a good break point.
Good break point. It's like gasp of a real.
Happy am I, Shakespeare, to regale thee with the tale of my woe, my lord.
Fine. I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence and perfect English.
Gregson's like,
I will do, Mr. Notsume. Let the court now hear from the victim.
Gregson's like, get me the fuck out of here. Alright, and then it should be... Oh, what the fuck? Who's this guy?
Where did he come from?
Alright, so that's Mr. Shakespeare. Whoo! Whoopst.
Yes, I'm sure we caught a glimpse of the man before.
State your names and occupation for the court, please, witnesses.
Okay, let's actually pause it here, because we're going to get new information. I'll save. I thought we would jump straight to a witness testimony, but they added an extra man. So yeah, we'll call it there. Solid return to form, everybody. We're vibing, we're in. There was, you know, the actual to be continued, but that was at the 2-hour mark, which is a little short for us. I don't know how long this will take, but we'll see. But yeah. Good to return to form. I think we've got our vibes correctly. Still a little bit of my cough. But I guess we'll see you next time for more. Oh, though it does say trial part 1, so we may have a investigation bit as well. But we'll see next time in the Old Bailey, the memoirs of the clouded Kokoro. I almost said crowded Kokoro. Your heart is crowded. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Good night. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.